What's up, everybody? Let's see if we get this thing working. We're in business. Welcome. I wanted to do this one as a live stream because I actually wanted to follow through on something I said I was going to do. I've had this scheduled at the Theory Underground website now, as well as on the YouTube channel for like a month and a half. And even before that, I thought the app was going to go up like months ago because the side of the product, and the plugin on WordPress and everything that I've been using to set up the app, when it was advertised to me, said I could have it set up in 24. Set up within 24 hours. I think it said like build the app in an hour. It turns out it took 6 months of troubleshooting and back and forth with the technical support team, and then even today. Once I actually got to the place that has internet, that's a long story, but basically I haven't had internet for the last month. There were still technical support issues. And in fact, the walkthrough that I'm about to show everybody includes technical support issues. And so there's just certain things that aren't showing up properly, but I'm going to walk you through those on the app because some people have downloaded the app and said, well, what do we do with this thing? And so I'm going to walk you through it. Sorry, text messages. I'm in the middle of everything right now, and this is not my space, and it's a good friend's space that he's letting me borrow because he's got high-speed internet, and the farm that I'm out living on, my parents, I've been living there for the last couple of weeks, it doesn't really have very fast upload speeds. Has fast download, but not fast upload because I guess Starlink, when it's on the residential side, it's no good. Anyway, let's set that aside. Let's just talk about this app. So the reason you're watching this is because you're curious about the Theory Underground app. So what is it that you see here on the left side of the screen? That is my home screen for my phone. I did a phone capture. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to push play and then just kind of explain as it goes. So here we go. Whoop. What is all that text? Basically, it takes a while to load because I'm not Amazon. And so this site taking a while to load, I am encouraging you to think of that as a sort of mark of honor or distinction or something. Like, no, this just says that not everything that you do on your phone comes from mega corporations. Not everything you do on your phone is a product of a giant team astroturfing something to you, saying that you need it when you don't. This is solely the work of moi, as well as obviously probably a lot of unpaid or exploited people all over the world who ultimately contribute to or make possible the millions of plugins that I've had to learn how to use. And so that's a whole invisible side of the production that I don't fully understand right now. But yeah, just at a certain level, though, I've created my own platform. And that's what Theory Underground, the app, is all about. It's a teaching lecture course app, but it's also, and as you'll see here, a social media app. So one of the problems, obviously, with Facebook or Twitter or any of these other things is that it's just kind of out there in the public. Anybody can talk shit, and there's no real guarantee that there's buy-in or commitment or skin in the game to the actual topics. And so this is for people who are looking to go deeper. This is for people who are really committed to certain aspects of what it is that I and the people that I consider fellow travelers are passionate about. And so we'll get into all of that stuff in a bit, but I'm just going to kind of read from the top. So it says, obviously this is the stream that's going on right now, there at the top. And it says, welcome to TU Beta, Theory Underground Beta. It's buggy as hell, but you know that kind of comes with the territory. It's a course-gated social media app and publishing house by/for blue-collar intellectuals and renegade academics who want to challenge themselves, critique, and understand. And so in line with that, I've got 2 books here that are being proofread right now. And like Anne is off proofreading this one, and once I'm done with the stream, I'll be proofreading this one. This is my book, Time Energy, the book about large energy infused blocks of time that are repeatable. And I always say repeatable in a week, but one of the people I'm in dialogue with is problematizing the idea that it's within a week. I specify within a week because there's just no other way to ever get time energy back unless we really assert that it has to be within a week to be able to be useful. But of course, in reality, time energy, it has to be repeatable time. Large energy infused blocks of repeatable time in the week, in the year, in your life. And obviously the reason we don't have any of that is because it's all going to our bosses, but also under totalitarian regimes, it all goes towards the political party. And so the point is that no political ideology, no economical system currently in existence prioritizes and centers time energy, and that's what we need. The Underground Theory book has lots of big name authors as well as a lot of us little nobodies. And the point of that is just to give us little nobodies an avenue, a venue, a forum in which to speak where we can get potential recognition as a way of sort of bootstrapping and accelerating the development of our own intellectual projects. And so Theory Underground has a publishing arm, and these books will be out September 2nd, and then we will be promoting them across the United States on tour. I've got a video about the tour coming out soon as well. But for now, let's just get into the app itself. So if you scroll down, you got the fellow travelers. You can add people there. You can click see all. It says, everyone is encouraged to use real names and faces, but please do not be your full authentic self here. Exercise discernment in which aspects of yourself you express, and do so in a way that helps elevate the learning environment. Right? We're trying to counter the tendencies of the internet on most social media platforms where people don't have skin in the game. People kind of just assume a certain kind of posture, and then they pose, really. And part of how people do that is by oversharing, and we're also kind of discouraging that. Basically, don't act like a know-it-all dick or representative of a totalized or non-split group. We are split subjects who don't belong anywhere. There are no members, and this is not a community. This is a gathering place for independent fellow travelers seeking to whatever, whose research and publishing projects, whatever, something, cultivate a working class intellectual milieu. Yeah. Kind of just goes off the rails there because this is beta. Like I said, beta. It's not meant to be looked into too far right now. It's just kind of like being experimented with. It's more the mechanisms that matter. And it's all towards the idea of like developing an intellectual milieu. And that means not just kind of consuming stuff in isolation, but actually like taking on certain subject matters with others. And so, we've got different courses on there, the Digital Literacy and Critical Media Theory cohort, which is ongoing, the What is Sex course, the Being in Time course. All of these different courses are up there. The Intro to Nick Land course is coming up soon. I've got an advertisement where Mikey kind of explains why Nick Land, and that will be uploaded soon as well, probably today if I get around to it. Go down to the bottom, you can find my posts, and there's a plan. If you click the bottom tab here, because there's different bottom tabs, right? We were all just on the tab here on the bottom left. You see, let me make sure this is adjusted. Right there. With the question mark and the little triangle there, you can see that right there. Well, if you click on the button to the right there, the one that unlocks things, once it's loaded, it's got different levels to the research cohort, and this is just an early draft. It's supposed to show images, which is just another one of the issues that I'm running into. But yeah, right now it doesn't show any image. It just says research cohort 1, $29.99, and they go up. They get really expensive. And the point of the tiers is like yeah, you can pay for tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, or tier 4 levels of involvement with any of the Theory Underground courses. Tier 1 is like auditing, tier 2 is like a long-term buy-in, tier 3 is you get additional critique from me, like constructive criticism. And the fourth tier, you also get some tutor sessions or some brainstorm sessions, whichever you kind of prefer. And well, one way of doing things is to, instead of paying for courses individually, you could become a monthly subscriber. And so people who are subscribing at the bottom tier there, it's kind of like you get to access a whole bunch of stuff at that low tier. And then as it goes up, you get additional kickbacks the same way that you do from higher tiers of involvement if you're buying individual courses. But ultimately, you save a lot of money by being a monthly subscriber. That's kind of the idea. And if I had enough monthly subscribers, I could do this full time without any stress. And that's kind of, I mean, there will always be stresses, but you kind of get the idea. Like, I wouldn't need more than 10 people at research cohort number 4 in order to do this full time. And that's exactly what I want to be able to do, is do multiple weekly hub events, constantly be involved with all the different social clubs, work on the publishing, work on the tours, and just focus on writing and teaching. That's ultimately what we want to do. And that's what's going to take to free me and people like Mikey from wage labor, to be able to focus on underground theory. But there's a lot of stuff you can do for free, though. So don't get it twisted. You don't have to do the subscription stuff, because you can get involved with the Spanish club, the German club, the French club, the writing cohort, the film club, the health and fitness club. There's all these different social clubs. And if you go to the tab at the bottom there, it's one over from the far left. It's the activity feed, and you can scroll the activity feed, see what everyone's posting. In some cases, you'll have to join groups to be able to see what people are posting. And in some cases, you'll have to be enlisted in courses or be a paying subscriber to be able to see all of the activity. But you get a lot for what it is and for where it's currently at. There's also direct messaging, as you can see there in that middle tab. And then on the far right tab there is the settings. You can get into your profile, notifications, achievements, activity, and other random crap like, I don't know, stuff like the privacy policy and the terms of service and stuff like that. And so if you're mainly wondering, like, well, how do you use this app though? Like, what is the real point of this app? It's because if you turn off notifications for a lot of stuff that's been filling up your notification tray on your phone, if you turn that shit off and just have Theory Underground rolling, then you'll be looped in whenever we're doing live but unlisted events. Because we do a lot of stuff that's not live streamed, but is just over Zoom. And that includes all of those social clubs that I just mentioned, as well as a lot of other ones. And it also includes the courses themselves and special events where we bring on speakers. And so it'll be definitely the best way to keep up with us when we are on tour of the United States, or when that tour branches off into other countries as well. So lots of really big, exciting things happening here on that front. Couldn't be more excited to kind of have this out in the world. It's fucking crazy that it's literally on the Google Play Store and the iPhone Store. What is it called? I don't know. Apple Store? Yeah. So go to your Apple Store, go to your Google Play Store, get Theory Underground, download it, enable notifications. That's essential. And, you know, it's just something that you can do that will get you slightly more engaged in something that is hopefully realer than whatever the fuck you're normally prone to do on your phone. You know, like, I just love educational apps, but I still end up scrolling social media and then feeling shitty for some reason afterwards. And the idea with Theory Underground is that what's being developed there is something that pays off in the long term. and it's not a fast, ego gratifying sort of process, but is instead like a slower and sustained kind of thing. One big note that I want to make though is that if you're in a thread with somebody else and then they delete their account and it was like their original post, then it will delete the entire thread. And so you got to kind of always assume that none of this stuff will be around in the future. This is platform capitalism. There's no guarantees of anything. And so ideally, you should be backing up your own messages and thoughts. Yes, share them on the forum, but also put them on Google Docs or Evernote or OneNote or Dropbox or whatever the hell you use as a note saving mechanism on your phone. Write it out on that, then paste it into the website itself. That's what I recommend so that you don't end up losing something that's really important to you, because I don't want to be responsible for that. Cool. All right. Well, that's the app. It exists. I'm kind of proud of it. I mean, I'm proud that it exists, but I'm also, it's not where I want it to be. I have a lot of other great ideas for it. But this is mainly just to prove that, with some time, energy, and money, I was able to make this happen. With more time, energy, and more money, I'd be able to have something even cooler exist. Do you know any other people who have their own platform with an app like dedicated to philosophy and theory teaching? I don't think so, not yet. And so for me, like it was a challenge to like learn this tech stuff that is kind of out of my element, and it was a real experiment in time, energy, budgeting, and just kind of what I'm capable of when I'm freed up from work. If I hadn't lived in Mexico for 5 months to cut costs this year, you wouldn't be looking at this. Like this didn't come because I have a lot of money or patrons. This came from having a lot of time and energy, and a couple of patrons who were very committed and helpful. And so shout out to the patrons. You guys like have made all of the difference in the world. And yeah, look at it. It's real. Download it. Even if it's a piece of shit, at least try it out. And I hope that it will make something cool possible that would have otherwise never been. So I think that's pretty much it. And I'm just going to probably turn this off in a second here. I have a PSA that I was going to play. And let me see if I can cue that up. And then I'll just hang out in the chat while it plays. The PSA will be longer than the video itself, though. Of course, it's also probably more important in a sense, because it has to do with the tour, it has to do with the forthcoming volumes, it has to do with all the stuff going on at Theory Underground, because I just did an update with Nance and Anne yesterday, and that's what I'm about to play for you all. Let me just get this set up here. I'll be right back. I don't think it was working. I think the microphone was not working for a bit there. Okay. Well, whatever. Let's get to it. Here we go. Let's play it. I don't think it was working. I think the microphone was not working for a bit there.
And now a quick message from our sponsors. Just kidding. This will be neither quick nor from any corporate or state sponsorship.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to a really special PSA. That is to say, public service announcement at Theory Underground. I am David McCarricker, and I'm with Nance and Ann here. And what we're here to talk about is the tour, the Theory Underground publications coming out here on September 2nd, and what we've been doing with the Hub event. And so we're going to start out with Nance reporting out on what's been going on with the Theory Underground Hub events. Welcome, Nance.
What's happening? So 13 hours ago, I jumped on my computer and logged into Zoom and all that stuff, and we started reading Julie Kristeva, right?
Yeah, we're reading some Kristeva.
Yeah. So this morning we read some Kristeva, and then we did a writer's workshop where we shared finished pieces or works in progress, read each other's work, kind of gave some critical feedback, and then we read the Old Chicago Style Guide. Then we did the multilingualism Spanish segment, and then we did an office hours segment and kind of like planning and organizing and housekeeping segment. And then after right now, we're going to go on into the multilingualism French segment. And that's just today. A couple days ago, we did a similar thing with the Hub event where we actually launched 4 or 5 different groups, I think.
Social clubs that we've been talking about launching for a long time. Always kind of like, should we do this one? Should we do that one? The idea of the Hub event is we get to do them all, right?
Yeah. So it's really cool. We did film. We did an album listening group. We did the first time we did the French segment.
Did we do French and German
we
that
did
day?
the German and the French.
Oh.
We did German and French. Yeah. So we're doing 2-a-days with languages.
Yeah.
Last Tuesday, we kicked off the German and the French segments. And it's really cool to have people come in from the community that have a background and some knowledge in the languages we're learning, so we can have some guidance, a little mentorship. And we're launching all these groups that functionally are social groups, but they're also, I guess, forums for us to get outside of our environment and kind of interrogate our own presuppositions and deeply held beliefs a little bit, because we're not sitting there being the expert English speakers, or we're not sitting there being the Finn McKenty. We're not experts on the music we listen to. We're just people that interact with these things. And it's really cool. And it teaches us to be better learners. It teaches us to be better thinkers, and it teaches us to be better, actually productive members of a group, as opposed to just instrumentalized members of a group. There is some verticality there. We all do bring something unique to the table, and it's a give and take relationship, and it's really cool. It's a way to socialize and shoot the shit and reify the in group and develop in jokes and jargon and blah 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 blah. But it also is instructive in many ways, and it's really cool. And it is the case that we are doing a lot of the groundwork. We're kind of laying foundations for the really awesome people that may or may not see this. I don't know, they may come to it some other way, but the really awesome people that eventually will meet us and become parts of these groups, and they will kind of take on the roles that we fail to play right now because we're not experts. We're kind of just generalists, but it's really cool. We're prefiguring some really awesome stuff, and it's a really cool way to spend the time. I could be sitting around and jerking off and having a pity party for myself, but instead I'm like exponentially increasing my own awareness and my own horizons and all this stuff. And it's really cool, and it's awesome when people kind of stumble upon the groups and the segments and the clubs. Like, we've had a few people that they show up for one thing, they get the email for office hours, or they get the email for German or Spanish or the writer's workshop, and then they stick around for another segment, and they're like, oh, this is actually awesome, I'm going to stick around and I'm going to become a member of this group as well. So it's really, really cool. I love it. It's awesome. It's great.
Part of it's that the app officially has come out on Android and Apple stores, and so you're able to get the app. You're able to get into these social clubs. Most of the clubs or most of the forums require going through the courses first, but no, not the social clubs. Social clubs are a way of mixing between what we're doing with the courses and things that we just need to be doing as a way of life, like practicing other languages. We have a health and fitness segment with the Swolitariat. Like, that's a lot of fun. And so someone who comes for the thing on Julius Kristeva, or they come for the Spanish thing, they end up staying for the health and fitness thing. And then we all end up diving into an actual event. We've already done surprise guest speakers. We've got really special segments that are going to go up on the channel publicly, but then we also have private segments that are recorded that just go up on specific forums. And the hub event is all one Zoom stream. I mean, it's not really a stream. It's one Zoom call, but it's just like a huge thing because Nance and I have the time, and we know everyone else doesn't have the time, but people are able to jump in. To kind of, to jump in, to pop in and out. And we want to kind of have a revolving door. And so working people, oh, I got to go, my boss, whatever, got to go. Oh, but no, get a chance later to put the earbud back in. And we're kind of preparing ourselves for a bunch of live broadcasting we'll be doing next year as well. And we're trying to make ourselves into the people that we want to be by doing all of these different things that we think that we do better with other people. And if you're only interested in writing, or if you're only interested in Spanish, if you're only interested in film, then awesome. And you're welcome to just get involved with that. And if you decide to branch out into other stuff, then great. But if not, we'll have a lot of fun with you doing what you love. And that's why it's really cool that we've got French people, German people actually in these clubs. We didn't even plan on that yet. We ultimately want to be able to pay our Spanish and French tutor to be able to attend those events and actually help everybody. And maybe eventually we'll get a course up. But for the time being, we're kind of prefiguring all of that, just the way that Nance said. And so with that, though, yeah, thanks, Nance. It's been probably the coolest thing this year in terms of my own development as a thinker. I used to listen to a lot of books while playing video games, and I get a lot more out of the exegetical reading sessions that we do, to the point where I find video games boring. I think that what we're doing is a lot more exciting. And so, yeah, it's cool. And Anne has some news here about the first of the publications we're announcing, which is Underground Theory.
That is right. Y'all know it's coming out. You can order it on September 1st on theory-underground.com, or you can get it on Amazon, but it's going to be cheaper on Theory Underground, just saying. But the update is that I am in the process of proofreading this entire 400-something page book. I actually had to skip out on the Spanish meeting today because this is like the only thing taking up brain space for me. Kind of, because also it's like, because it's not a full-time job where I'm getting paid a salary or like $20 an hour to do it, I'm also like, I want to go cook a meal. I need to do my laundry. But all of that is to say, I've really truly been enjoying the process, not only the process of editing and proofreading. I personally find meaning from it, I guess. I enjoy doing it. I've always enjoyed those meticulous tasks that a lot of people go, this is bullshit, I hate it, why do I have to do it? I'll do it, I'll be the person to do those things. But it's really fun to get to read this book that we've put together with people that we know in real life and people that we don't know in real life, and then people like freaking Slavoj Žižek. I've had email correspondences with Slavoj Žižek. I didn't know who he was 5 years ago. That's cool. So you can see in here, if I flip through, the markups, just basic things. I'm not really fundamentally changing anything. It's kind of just, oh, there's an extra space there. Oh, there's a the missing there. Oh, that period needs to be there. It's meticulous and it's tedious, but this book's gonna be dope. And Dave and I were just talking today about, like, does this even need to happen? Can we just call it good as it is and get it sent to Amazon and print it as is? And, there's reason, Dave has reasons for maybe why we want to do that on future books, or why that is kind of like a resistance to the perfectionism of academia. But I also see why this is necessary. On the one hand, it's like, well, we've actually got people like Slavoj Žižek and Alenka Zupančič and Todd McGowan and people that we respect, and I want this work to just like reflect their hard work, and I want it to reflect our hard work. And I want, for this especially, because it has the bigger names, I think there will probably be more eyes on it, and I want those people to see that you can produce quality work in the underground. That, yeah, it's tedious and meticulous and taking longer than we had hoped, but like, people are going to be impressed. They're going to go, oh, wow, this is legit publication. Because then there's also the case of you made, well, no, this is the underground, and it's just about the ideas, and it doesn't matter. And for future books, maybe we'll experiment with that. But I think because we've just got so many names in this, and we never actually set that expectation in the first place, and didn't tell people, like, you need to get this proofread on your own. It's like, there are pieces in here where I don't even think the author proofread them themselves, and it's like, that's fine. I think some people are just used to, like, having other eyes on it, and I just want everyone's best foot forward in this book. I want everyone to look good in this book and not have a reader, because, the readers that we want are gonna just not care and just be focused on the ideas, but realistically, someone is gonna read it and go, wait, this sentence doesn't make sense, or, oh, there's double periods there. It's like in a show on theater. Like, there's always some mistake, but people are attracted to the mistakes rather than the, like, actual performance that's going on, or the distraction. And so, for this first volume that has some big names, I just want to make it awesome. And so, I'm in the process. I'm getting close. I think I can be done soon and have it up in Amazon and ready to print. But it's just been, like, physically reading it and writing things down with different colored pens, because I don't know, that's fun. And then going and sitting and going through and doing the edits on a document. And you might be wondering, well, and why not just do it on the computer in the first place? Because I hate reading on screens. I know this is taking twice as long, or kind of like maybe, I don't know, 10.5 times as long, but I don't care because the work is more quality when I'm reading it in the text, and just to see the errors and see how it looks is cool. So this book's going to be as best as it can be, having been, proofread, first look through by Marilyn Lawrence, who fixed the footnotes and fixed a lot of errors, and she's been, like, absolutely incredible and essential in this. And then Dave proofread some of them, and I've done, like, the bulk of the proofreading of just the fixing little errors. And so I hope it is reflected in that. But also, like, I didn't go to school for proofreading and editing. I have no real credentials other than I learned how to write an essay in 6th grade, and then I learned some grammar throughout high school. And then I Google things constantly. I'm like, where does the colon go in the Chicago style? That's my qualifications, but it'll be cool. So that's what I've been working on. I'm excited for people to get their hands on this thing. You can hurt someone with this, or you can blow your mind with this.
You also, part of your expertise is that you did grade people's papers in the university.
That's true.
And so did I.
But
And so that matters.
I had professors who actually were like cared more about the grammar than the content. But yeah, I was also like, I worked in the university. I got accepted into conferences. Like, I have some legit, I wrote a research paper, so I know what I'm doing.
Yeah, and part of the issue with this idea of underground theory, it's like, okay, by calling it underground theory, we are playing off the idea that you work with what you got, and you got to get it out there, and you got to do it yourself because you're not in an institution, you're not relying on the institution, you are short circuiting the process, you're breaking through those walls. But also, it's not just a get rich quick scheme like some of these underground people we see doing stuff where they're just constantly like trying to sell you. We just got to sell you books so that we can get drunk and drive around. And it's like, no, that's not what we're actually trying to make a difference here. We actually believe that this is the beginning of a discourse that's going to be more than just our little local, like, oh, we're just having fun. Like, yeah, we're gonna have fun. But we're going to have fun because we're also doing stuff that we think matters. And we're the kind of people who can't have fun unless we're also doing something that we think matters. And then in what ways does it actually matter? In what ways does it actually change the world? And well, these are big questions, and people can argue about it all day. But I do believe that a big part of it for the three of us is time energy theory. And the first book on it is the second book that we are publishing on September 2nd. And it really just, these are the two books that we're talking about on tour. And so, we have currently when we're recording this, it is August 24th, 2023. So we've got, 8 days until launch. And then we actually start driving across the country. Right. And so we're going to give you a quick rundown here on the tour itself. On September 2nd, Slavoj Žižek is coming to Boise in the flesh. He's going to literally be there at the Xanadu building in Boise. Just kidding. He's not. But he'll be joining us over Zoom to sort of commemorate the occasion and to give us his clout. Because ultimately he thinks the idea of some blue collar and working class thinkers doing theory and getting out there and getting people into philosophy and stuff in the States, which is like the most anti-intellectual climate in the world today, is important. It matters. And so that's really awesome. We appreciate that. And so that's something that people will be able to see. We will post it online, but there will also be a Zoom call. And there are tickets for the Zoom call available in the description down below. And then if the one free way to participate is just to actually be there in the flesh. And so we are prioritizing the people who actually show up. I'm going to introduce Mikey. Mikey's going to introduce Slavoj Žižek. Mikey's going to explain why he thinks Slavoj Žižek is such an important philosopher, and that will be in a lot of cases people's first introduction to Slavoj Žižek. I think that Mikey is specially equipped to talk about the relevance of some of his concepts and why they're useful to a blue-collar warehouse worker in Raytown, Missouri. After we interview him on some really interesting questions, trust me, there's going to be presentations from the three of us, as well as Elton and Brian. After that, we're headed to Colorado, and we're going to see Philip, who's been in courses with us. He's got a piece that's in Underground Theory. It's a really great piece on the state of education and what he hopes will actually help improve it. And we'll be getting together in Breckenridge, September 5th through the 7th. The event will probably be on the 6th. And we'll probably be doing other cool stuff, but we're not going to publicize all of it in this PSA. Then we're going to go see Mikey September 10th in Raytown, Missouri. You see, that's where I have the barbecue on the map, and that's because it's Kansas City, right? And so we're going to do Kansas City with Mikey. But the public thing that you're all invited to is actually at a really cool indie bookstore called Prosperos. And so information on that coming soon, but it'll be on Saturday, the 10th. September 13th, we will be in Ontario, an hour outside of Kingston, at the McLuhan Institute with Andrew McLuhan, as well as the Solitariat, aka Eamon Stephen. And he's also, by the way, our fitness and health coach. Right. So it's really exciting that he's going to be there and that he'll be presenting on things as well. But this will be kind of like the critical media theory focused event of the tour. And then, and this is all still kind of coming together like last minute. Everything about this is Tour Zero. Could you explain what that means, Nance?
So Tour Zero is an opportunity to get out and it's like on the job training. Do the thing, but also fail, because failure is always going to happen, but learn from our failures. And it's not that there's less pressure, but there's a different kind of pressure, a different kind of public pressure. The pressure will be more coming from inside the house rather than being concerned with spectacularly failing and everybody writing it off as just a bunch of dickheads from the internet.
Right.
Which is why it's tour 0 rather than tour 1. Because the next one will be better.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. And so, in pretty record time, I've been able to throw this thing together, and I've done that with a lot of things that I've done in the last year. But I'm just interested in making a splash with Theory Underground in the first year, so that people who see what it could be get involved. And so then we're really excited about this one. We're going to be meeting Todd McGowan himself. We're going to get together at University of Vermont. There's going to be presentations. He's going to present, but he won't be the keynote because he said that would be weird at his own university, which makes sense. But we get to hear him present on the continued relevance of German idealism and why it matters. And I'm just really stoked about that. And we're all going to be presenting on our thoughts on related issues. And then New York City, we're going to be seeing Samuel Lonkar, Norman fucking Finkelstein, and Russ Brigula. And so
Norman X. Finkelstein, you fascist.
Yeah, that's right. Norman X. Finkelstein, which is how he put his name on the newest book. I'll burn that bridge when I get to it. And he'll probably be presenting on his problems with identity politics, his radical left critique of it, but also he might be presenting on the Democrats and their failure to do diplomacy, and how he thinks that both sides of the political spectrum are trying to build up for a nationalist world war, or an imperialist world war, we could say. So that's another thing that is going to be fascinating. Then we're going to probably dip into DC before we go back to the other side of the coast. And we've got several people that we're talking to or with about doing all kinds of things, but we kind of want to keep it vague because some of the things we're doing is for a documentary. That's a super secret project. No one gets to know about it until later. But also, we're doing some things like going to see a Broadway play. We're all going to go see Gutenberg in New York City on, what is it, like the 15th, right?
15th or 16th, yeah, one of those nights. It's a new musical. It's only on Broadway for 20 weeks. It's got Josh Gad and Andrew Reynolds, who were the original Elder Price and Elder Cunningham in the Book of Mormon. And it's supposed to be super funny. And it's also about the inventors of the printing press. So it's kind of relevant to like critical media theory and Marshall McLuhan. And it'll be interesting to see the content, but also it's apparently hilarious. And I'm excited.
Yeah, it's going to be really cool. And then we'll also do probably a couple others, as well as a couple of museums. And a lot of that's, if people want to get involved with that, it's going to be word of mouth. And so you just have to kind of get with us, because these are not just consumable things on demand. We're kind of making the point that just doing stuff with people in real life is more important than just being sort of existing in videos or podcast stuff where people just have you on demand. It's like, no, actually sharing space and making time for one another. Like, it's real shit. And that's the whole point. People were like making fun of the original description of what's in this volume because it used the word real. I think that's an important word. And I think that there's some people who just don't care about keeping it real. And that's just why we do what we do. So then we're going to go on to Chicago for a Platypus special event they're putting on for us, where we're all going to present. Catrone will present. And who knows how that's going to go. But basically, we're going to spend a lot of time thinking about what we're going to present at this thing. And until it actually happens, we're going to keep it pretty hush-hush. But you'll be able to see the Facebook and the website and the meetup events as they develop. And so there will be more information on all of these soon. But then we're going, and by the way, for people who are like, well, I thought that this was all happening like through September and October, we decided to do it all in September because we decided this is tour 0. So then secret surprise thing in Denver. So stay tuned. That'll be September 24th or 25th. Catherine Liu is getting with us on September 26th or through the 27th in LA. And there's also a big secret and surprise thing that's going on in LA that Nance is grinning because he knows. Oh yeah. And you know, the thing I told you off camera, I talked to the producer of the show remember? Yeah. So it's exciting. And then we're going to go to the Vegas Punk Museum, and Nance is going to give us a tour of the fucking thing, which is just, to me, I've always been fascinated by this subculture. It's had a lot of influence on the left. It's had a lot of influence on hardcore. It's had a lot of influence on underground scenes everywhere. And so it's historically fascinating, but also arguably a dead end. And so there's this whole like argument we're having amongst ourselves about its relevance. Is being compared to punk or underground stuff in the first place even a compliment, or is it actually kind of a self-own? We're open to it being a self-owned. We're actually kind of self-aware that a lot of people are taking this stuff more seriously than they should in the wrong ways. And we're taking parts of it more seriously that nobody actually takes seriously or tends to underestimate, right? So we're trying to do something here, and people will hopefully kind of get the sense for what it is that we're developing with all that here on this tour. And then we're going to Reno. There's going to be a film club special. I used the thumbnail from our last film club meeting. That's not actually the one we'll be doing there. That one's going to be a surprise. And it will only be public if we find a public location. Otherwise, it'll probably just be 7 of us back at a private residence. Finally, Ashland, October 1st, slacklining. We're just literally doing a slacklining focused event, and sure, we'll have the books there and we'll talk about them, but this will be advertised on Meetup as well as Facebook as a slacklining event. And the point is to just kind of get in your body, find balance, breathe, and we'll do a whole thing on balance and why it matters there. But it's, all the way of kind of integrating aspects of life and bringing a sort of balance to ourselves who are otherwise super siloed into consumer niche demographics for consumerism. Then Portland, Burnside Pals, potentially a clubhouse. Somebody is currently trying to reserve for us the clubhouse at some place. So stay tuned for that. And then we're going to be probably doing something in Seattle, it looks like, with J.M. Adams of the New Center for Research and Practice, as well as potentially a couple of Jay's friends. And it looks like there's actually a DSA chapter there who wants to bring us. I find that super interesting. Like, I'm going to give them my critique of the left, basically. I'll present it to them. And at the same time, lend them encouragement, because at least one of the things that I know that they're doing, I think is fundamentally important, regardless of what you believe in or who you're affiliated with. They are doing some mutual aid kinds of activities there that seem cutting edge, according to the conversation I had with somebody. And so that's exciting. And then this is tentative, but I think we're doing something with Bruce Bierman back in Spokane, and that'll end the tour. And so that's the whole thing. We're going to basically have it all done within a month's time. We just got a minivan for doing this. It's going to be the 3 of us, and we're just excited to meet some people from the internet, to meet some old friends, and to see what we can do with getting these ideas spread more widely, getting people time energy pilled, helping people realize that they don't have to go through academia to still get a quality education and to be developing themselves as a thinker in their own right, as a way of life, as a longer term project that only gets better as you get older, instead of tapering off and then you have a miserable last 30 years of your life. You're actually developing yourself to be able to intervene in your prime intellectually, right? And to be at your best between your 60s and 80s. Like that's actually what philosophy is for becoming someone who has something to say and someone who other people want to hear from. And that's not something that you're going to get at the age of 20, at the age of 30, at the age of 40. It's something that only comes after 20 to 40 years of study and research and real dialectical engagement with the world. And, we're serious about it. We think it's going to be great. And fun. Anybody have anything that they want to say is close? Ryan Gosling will be with us. Not the actor. not the actor. This kitty that Anne is holding is Ryan Gosling. He will be with us. In some cases, he will be camping in the van overnight, and I'll probably sleep with him those nights because in some cases he won't be able to stay inside where we're at because some people are allergic, and that's too bad because he's the most precious kitten in the world.
That's like about as bad as being allergic to, no, not allergic, but having that gene that makes cilantro taste like soap. If
That's
you're
not
allergic to cats, like, I'm sorry, you're missing out.
Well, you didn't.
I don't fuck with cats, and I never felt like I was missing out until I met Ryan Gosling. He's the cutest puppy in the world.
Aw, and he likes puppies, so that's quite the compliment. Yeah, Anne didn't used to like cats too much either, so we're all into them now. You know, it's a thing that
If anyone
comes.
wants to know about our Dave's philosophy of cats, let us know.
Once you've grown up, you'll understand. No, yeah, I'll write that book eventually. But all right, for now, we're excited to see you all on the road. And right now, we're just kind of frantically doing all of the things and falling behind and still somehow getting it done. And we're putting off some of our courses until later just to give ourselves a little bit of breathing room and to really give this tour a fair shake because I think you all deserve it. We deserve it. And it's going to be a great time. So thank you for listening to this normally sized ad in a YouTube video. Peace.